So take a comfortable seated position. And adjust your base so you feel even across your base. And then just place your hands at your lower back area. So the lumbar spine, the lower back, should be a gentle movement into the body. It's a concave curve. So if your lower back is pushing out, you might want to sit on more height. That just means there's probably some tightness in your hips or maybe your waist area. So you want to make sure that you have enough support underneath your pelvis so your lower back is in that gentle concave. And it enables you to sit longer too with more comfort. And then relax your legs. Your hips should be soft, and it's ideally best if your knees are at least hip height or lower. So if your knees are up high, that's also another sign that you need more height under your pelvis. And what the height will do for the hips is it relaxes the hips so the knees can release towards the feet. Okay? That's another comfort measure for sitting. And then just begin to grow your spine up. Bring your head back over your shoulders and bring your shoulders down away from your ears. Bring the palms together. Rest the thumbs on the breastbone. Gently relax your eyelids down, closing your eyes. Let's just take a moment to find that quiet place inside. Soften your facial muscles. Taking some fuller breaths in and out. Feel your base from inside your body. If you'd like to Om with me 3 times, so we inhale the breath fully. And as you exhale the breath, bowing the head to the heart. Release your hands to your lap. Inhale the breath, lift the head, and open the eyes. So that bowing of the head to the heart, that's symbolic of letting go of the ego and surrendering to the seat of the soul. Isn't that nice? So in yoga practice, we're always trying to work from our center. It's something Mr. Iyengar would say. So be in your center, not in your ego. And so when we're in our ego and maybe we're struggling with poses or pushing too hard, that's sometimes how we can injure ourselves. When we're in our center and we're not concerned with performance, say, or trying to, deepen our pose, it's a more pleasurable place to be, a more calm and centering place to be. The other thing you want to remember when you're practicing asana is to make sure you're using your breath and that you're not moving in and out of poses without using your breath. Because the whole purpose of hatha yoga is to unite your mind and body together. And when you use the breath consciously, this helps you to do this. This creates that connection more and more with the mind and the body. Okay? And it helps you to be more in your center versus the ego. So part of it is a learning process. All right. So now we're going to come to hands and knees briefly. And it's nice to put down a blanket for padding under your knees. And if you need something also for under your ankles. So today's focus, we're going to do a lot of attention on our sacrum and pelvic area, okay? So just to give you an update, so our sacrum is this big bowl, right? We know where the sacrum is. I'm sorry, the sacrum is back here. The pelvis is this whole area. So right behind your abdomen, the back of your pelvis is your sacrum, that kind of hard bone. And it's just below your lumbar. So lower back is here, sacrum is here, tailbone is all the way down. Okay, so we'll be referring to that area today a lot in the poses. So now just come onto your hands and knees, and we're going to warm up the spine with pelvic tilts. Sometimes called cat-cow, but I like to call them pelvic tilts more because you want to initiate the movement in the spine from your pelvis, not your head, okay? So when we're on our hands and knees, we begin with a breath in and exhale fully, let the shoulders move down. And then we inhale the breath and lift the buttocks a little bit, lift the face a little bit, letting the spine dip down into the body, into a concave shape of the spine. Then we press down with the hands and we exhale the breath and move the sacrum down towards the tailbone, rounding the spine up and bringing the head under. Come back to our inhalation, to the concave back, lifting those sitting bones. Spine follows, neck follows, head lifts. Exhale the breath. Draw the sacrum down, round the spine up, bring the head under. Now just keep going in this way, okay? Pelvic tilts. Really good for warming up the spine, bringing your awareness to the spine. And again, remember, we're moving from the pelvis. Yes. Good, letting the head follow the movement of the spine. Yeah, so bringing your mind to your pelvis. Good, remember to use the breath. Each part of the pose has got either an inhale or an exhale. Inhale, coming to concave back, where the buttocks lift, head follows. Exhale, directing the sacrum down, rounding the back up, releasing the head under into a convex shape. Good, working a little more slowly for some of you so you can really get the lengthening of the breath. That connection with the mind and the body. Good. A few more. And then return your spine to that neutral position. Sort of like hands and knees Tadasana, neutral position. Then watch here, please. So I'm just going to now turn my toes under again and take my hips back about halfway towards my heels. Then I walk my hands forward in the puppy pose. Let the head release, let the neck release. And keep moving back through that sacrum towards the tailbone as I extend my arms. And maybe your head will rest down. If you want to be able to rest your head down, you can put a block there, okay? So on the hands and knees, you're going to draw your hips back about halfway towards your heels. Keep it there as you walk your hands forward, taking this oppositional stretch. Bring your mind to the sacrum area, the back of the pelvis, and move the sacrum towards the tailbone. Nice. Do your best to try to keep your elbows straight and lifted off the floor, pressing down more with the palms of the hands or the fingers, and you'll get a nice long side body stretch. Good. Breathe into your body. Hi, Lisa. Good. And just enjoy this for a few more breaths, drawing the sacrum towards the tailbone as you inch the fingertips forward. Nice, Kelly. Good. And then to come out, you just start to walk your hands back underneath your shoulders and come back to that neutral spine. So now I'm going to show you this one straight ahead so you can see a little better. I'm going to come again into the puppy pose. So we take the hips back, part way, walk the hands and arms forward, release the neck and head. Then you're just going to come over to your right side about 6 inches, maybe towards the corner of your mat. And just open the side waist. Reach back through that outer left hip. Holding for several breaths, we'll come back to center. And then you slide your hands over to the left and draw back through the outer hip. Come back to center for a few breaths. And then bring your hands in under your shoulders. Okay? So come onto hands and knees. Turn your toes under like a dog pose. I find that this makes it a little more strong. You have a little more leverage with the toes turned under. Then take your hips back towards your heels about halfway. Good. Then walk your hands forward as far as you can reach without bringing your hips with you. Yeah, keep moving back through the sacrum towards the tailbone and extend your arms. Good. Now, walk your hands a little bit over to the right side of your mat and continue to reach back through the sacrum, and you'll feel a lot more opening in the left side of your waist. This is great for back care. Good. Keep moving from the sacrum, but take your breastbone, Jill, towards your hands a little more, so you're lengthening still the front of the spine as well. Good. Good. Then walk your hands back to center. And then come over to the other side when you're ready. The other side of your mat. Good. Keep the hips behind the knees. Reaching back through the sacrum. Looks good, Carrie. Breastbone towards the hands, Jill. Good. Now opening through that right side of the body. Right waist, right lower back maybe. Relax your neck, so let your head drop. Yeah, don't have to hold your head up. Good, and breathe steadily. Breathe continually. And as you do the asana practice, your breath naturally will extend more and more, and you'll be able to hold poses longer. Good, now come back to the middle. And just one breath or two back to the center. And then walk your hands back under your shoulders. And now just take child's pose. Turn your toes the other way. Open your knees maybe a little wider. And then come and sit back on your heels. Let the tops of your feet stretch now. Use whatever props you like for under your head if you like. Maybe just your own hands under your head so you can relax your head. Good. And long fluid exhalation. Good. And then you can come out of child's pose anytime. So now we're going to need our strap. And so I like to use a loop in my strap these days because it's easier on the wrists and the fingers and all the way down into the shoulders. So I create a loop at the end. If you don't have that, don't worry about it. So we're going to do some of the Supta Padangusthasana leg stretches now. And I'm going to keep bringing your attention back to resting on the center of the sacrum, okay? And what this does is it strengthens your abdomen more and your lumbar spine, gain more strength. Rather than just pressing the lower back into the floor, which feels good too a lot of the time, today we're going to be resting on the center back of the sacrum where there's a little bit of a mound there. If you feel your back there, below the lower back, there's a little bump, kind of a mound. So that's where we're going to be placing our weight on the sacrum, okay? So I'm also going to use a wall for my feet. And I'm going to start in the pose we call Supta Tadasana, where we just get the back body to slide down. So we bend the knees and slide out slowly, getting that slight pulling down of the shoulder blades and the sacrum. And this feels really nice on the lower back. So we'll be in this first. And then we're going to bend both knees. I'm just going to show you what we're going to do, and then we'll do it together. You're going to take your loop, place it around the mounds of the toes to start. And you start with first trying to open the knee by pressing the heel up. And then keeping the knee open, you start to press up through the mounds of the toes. So the foot is like in an angle, like a dorsiflexion foot. And this pressing of the mounds of the toes engages the front of the leg, okay? And so if you could see, my arms are straight, my fingers are just resting inside the loop, so it's very comfortable for my arms and hands. Then after a minute, we'll straighten the other leg and we'll put it at the wall. And we'll work on opening both legs, extending both legs away from the hips. And then we'll hold on to the tail end, reach the arms over the head as we slide the tail through the fingers. It's getting a nice opening of our chest, okay? Then we walk the hands back up and then we release and take the other side. Okay, so have your belt, maybe a loop in your belt. Have your belt handy. We'll start in Supta Tadasana. Lie on your back. Place your feet, if you're using a wall, up against the wall with the knees slightly bent. And then pressing the feet into the wall, start to slowly slide out until your legs are straight. So feet should be down on the floor, Jill. Yeah, soles of the feet on the wall, Jill. So slide out so your legs are straight. Supta Tadasana, yeah. Good. And so when you slide out the way I demonstrated, it helps us to adjust the back body. So shoulder blades, Elise, have to move way down. Sacrum also moves down towards the tailbone, and tailbone moves down towards the feet. And then you should feel more of a lift of your chest from doing this. Nice broad collarbones. Let's take a few breaths here. Press down with your inner thighs to the floor. Relax the back of your neck, letting the head rest right over the shoulders. This is a natural way to create alignment in your structure. All right. Now bend your knees and place your feet on the mat and put your right foot in the belt. Place the belt around the mounds of your toes. And once you have the belt placed, work on extending the knee And you want to try to get your hands in the loop. So if you've created a big enough loop, you can place your hands so your fingers just rest inside the loop. And it's a very comfortable position for your hands and wrists. Arms are straight. One of the things you can do, if you're finding your legs stretching out quite easily, you want to place the buckle in such a way that you can just simply pull on the tail to snug it up a little if it gets loose. Good. Now, once you have the belt placed and the legs straight, press your heel up for a breath or two. So flex the heel, drawing the toes down to straighten the knee. Yeah, nice straight right knee. You can tell by feeling the back of your knee if you're not sure if it's straight. The back of the knee should feel open. And once you think you have that, then start to press now the mounds of the toes into the belt. And notice how that engages the front of the leg. Collarbones are broad at the front of the shoulders. Arms are long. And now go ahead and straighten your left leg. Sometimes when we go to straighten the left leg, the right leg will resist that a little bit. So if that's too much for you, bend your left knee back up again. Good. Now pressing the left foot into the wall or whatever it's touching. Pressing the right foot up into the belt. And doing your best to bring that right leg right over your hips so it's perpendicular to the floor. That's an ideal position. Perpendicular to the floor. Good. Now think about extending both legs to create long legs. So Jill, you looks like you need something behind your head so your head doesn't drop back so you can actually see your leg. And you want to try to position your right leg more vertically up. Maybe work with your other leg bent for a while. Yeah. Good. Now keep pressing that foot into the wall and direct your left thigh to the floor. So you're trying to close the gap. If the leg is not straight, you can't do this. But if your leg is straight, your left leg is straight, press it down into the floor. Good. Feeling that stretch through the quad a bit. Now, are you on the center of your sacrum? Notice where your weight is coming down through your back. Some of you look like your lower back is flat. We want to actually lift the lumbar a little bit off the floor. So keeping the collarbones broad, lift your chest and balance your weight right at the center of your sacrum. That looks good, Carrie. Good. Chest lifting, Elise. Lift that lower back as you press your thigh to the floor, Elise. Good. Now the right thigh is moving down towards the wall, so it's moving away from your shoulder. But working with a straight leg, Jill, and a long neck, so you can see the back of your, so you can see what's happening with that right leg. All right, good. Now hold on to the strap, not the loop, and start to extend your arms over your head with straight arms. Reaching the arms over your head, trying to keep the strap taut or firm, not loose. And extend those arms as far over your head as you can. Now press that foot into the wall again. Press the mounds of your toes into the belt, a little more reaching with your heel, Vicky, your right heel. Good. Left thigh moves down into the floor. Right thigh is still moving towards the wall. Good. And then walk your hands back up the belt. And then bend your left knee and place your left foot on the mat. And then bend your right knee and release your belt. Good. Just for a moment, come back to Supta Tadasana. Bring your feet on the wall. You can start with your knees a little bent. Slide your back body down as you slide out. So the shoulder blades move down and the sacrum in particular is extending towards the tailbone, towards the heels. Take a couple breaths, nice broad shoulders. Back of the neck is long. Throat is soft. Good, then come back to bent knees. Place both feet flat on the mat. And then place your belt around the mounds of your left toes. Extend your left leg up. Good. Start with pressing up through your heel first, your left heel, to straighten that knee as much as you're able to today. Left leg is long. And then once you press the heel up, then press up into the belt. So pressing the mounds of the toes into the belt. Good. Engaging the front of the leg as well. Quads engaged. Good. Collarbones are still broad. Shoulders are broad. Back of the neck is long. Fingers are soft in the belt. Arms are straight. Good. Now slowly straighten your right leg and put that foot back on the wall. And just start to press that foot into the wall. Good. Getting a nice straight right knee. Direct the right thigh more and more towards the mat. So reach the back of that thigh, at least down towards the mat. Back of the right thigh moves towards the mat. Good. Are we on the center of the sacrum? Lower back should not be pressing into the floor if you're on the center of the sacrum. Good. Now reach through both legs, creating long legs. Left thigh is moving down towards the wall. Right thigh moving down towards the floor. Breathe steady. Remember this mind-body connection in yoga. It's key to breathe into the stretch, into the body. Good. Especially as you exhale, extend in the pose. Inhale, stabilize. Exhale, extend. Nice straight left knee and arms, Jill. Good. Now hold on to the strap instead of the loop and begin to take the arms over your head with straight elbows. Notice how the right thigh will pop up for some of you if there's tightness in the groin. So keep pressing that right thigh to the floor. Pressing your mounds of your left toes into the belt. Good. And opening the chest by reaching the arms over the head. Good. Pressing the foot into the wall. So whenever we have an oppositional stretch in the body, which I teach a lot, that's the natural traction. That's opening the body. That's opening your joints. Good. And then walk your hands back up the belt. And then bend your right knee, place your right foot on the floor. And then bend your left knee and place your left foot on the floor. And just place both feet now flat on the mat. And bring your arms to your sides. And turn your palms so they face down into the floor. So now we're going to just do some floor pelvic tilts. Okay. And this is just a gentle movement, but really good for your spine again. and focusing the movement at the pelvis. So when you inhale the breath, you're going to roll to the tailbone. So knees are bent, feet are flat. When you inhale, you roll to the tailbone and lift the sacrum slightly in the lower back. Good, Elise. When you exhale, you move the opposite way. You press down with the sacrum and even moving a little bit into the lower back. Good. Inhale, roll to the sacrum, lift the lower back. Exhale, move the other way and feel your abdominals engage and come in when you press down with the back body. Good. Keep going, a few more. And feeling your engagement of the core muscles when you exhale and bring that sacrum down. Good. Good. And then come back to neutral spine, where we're balanced on the sacrum, center of the sacrum, mound of the sacrum with the knees bent. Good. Now bring your knees to your chest and roll to your side. And if you could watch here. So now we're going to come back to being on the back again. And again, I'm finding the center of my sacrum, okay? And I'm pressing it into the floor. And this is a natural engagement of my abs, okay? Then I'm going to straighten the bottom leg. So left leg will straighten, right leg is going to come up. Again, trying to find that placement of the leg being perpendicular to the floor. I'm not using a belt now, okay? I'm rechecking my sacrum, trying to keep my back there, and then I'm going to lower my leg about a third of the way without letting my sacrum lift. Lower it another third of the way without letting my sacrum lift. This is where you really start to feel your abs. And then slowly bringing it almost all the way down, keeping that sacrum down, and then releasing, okay? So we're going to do that a couple times on each leg, but we're going to hold a little longer than that. That was a quick, a fast play. Fast forward. So again, lie on your back, please. Feel free to use padding if you need it. Bend your knees and place your feet flat on the mat. Find the center of your sacrum. And notice when you're on the center of your sacrum that you feel your abdominals engage a bit. Good. Collarbones are broad, palms face down alongside our trunk. Back of the neck long. Good. Now, go ahead and straighten your left leg. Just on the floor. Yeah. Notice what's changed in your back. Did your sacrum lift? So come back to the mound of the sacrum. And then pick your right leg up and straighten that leg up. Extend it towards the ceiling. Try to get that leg perpendicular right over your other leg, over your hip. So go ahead and bend the left leg, Jill, because it looks like it's difficult. Yeah, you can bend your other leg if it's difficult for you to hold the right leg up with a straight leg. We're not using our arms, we're just using our muscles. Good. Now come back to the mound of the sacrum. Yes, feel the mound of the sacrum as you press up through your right heel. Open that knee, Kelly. Good. Now slowly lower your right leg about a third of the way down and stop. Come back to the mound of the sacrum. Yeah, Linda, good. Bring that sacrum down. Hold for several breaths, pressing out through the right heel, anchoring down through your left leg. Good. Start to lower your right leg another 30 degrees and be on the mound of the sacrum. Engage your abs. If the abs aren't engaging, this could be hard on your back. So work your abs. Good. Press out through the right heel. Good. And then lower the leg almost to the mat. Hold, keeping your sacrum down. Good job, Linda. Sacrum down, abdominals engaged. Good. And then lower the leg all the way down and rest. Notice when you rest what your tendencies are in your back. Do you have a tendency to really lift that lumbar and pop the belly out? So some lumbar arch is good, but sometimes we overdo, and that can weaken our abdominals. So once again, in Supta Tadasana, extend your sacrum down towards your heels. So draw it down. Then bend your knees again. Notice if the sacrum has moved. So come back to the center of the sacrum again and feel how it engages your abs. Then straighten your right leg. If you like to work with a straight bottom leg, go ahead and do that. But keep the center of the sacrum down. Good. Then maintain the sacrum balance as you pick your left leg up and straighten it. And press that foot up in towards the ceiling. Try to place that leg so it's perpendicular to the floor with a straight knee. Then recheck your sacrum again. Engage your abs a bit. Collarbones broad. And begin to lower the left leg about a third of the way. Hold. Readjust your sacrum. Breathe. Good. Press out through the heel, lower the leg another third of the way. So now we're 2/3 of the way down. Come to your sacrum. Engage your abs. Collarbones broad, throat soft, pressing through the heel. Good. And come down almost all the way to the floor. Hold. Sacrum down, abdominals engaged. Press out through that heel. Steady breathing. Great job. And then slowly lower the leg to the mat and rest. Again, notice your back. All right, so now let's just bend the knees, bring the knees to the chest again, hugging the legs, and then rolling out to your side and sitting up. So now we're going to take our block. I'm going to stand and do a couple of things. The first is Tadasana. So I'm going to ask you, if you have a wall, you can bring your back to the wall. We're going to take our block in this direction. So if you could watch the demo so you know what we're doing. Taking the block the long way, like the length of the thigh bone. And I'm just going to lift one leg to the side and place the block between the thighs. And I'm going to take my feet as close together as I can. And I'm going to step my heels right to the wall if that's possible. And then bring my shoulders to the wall and my head to the wall. So if it feels like your pelvis is pushing out when you do this, step an inch away from the wall, okay? So taking Tadasana, press down through your heels. Lean your back body into the wall. Squeeze the block. And as you squeeze the block, lift your toes. And notice when you lift your toes how that helps you engage your quadriceps. Lift the quads. Good. Move the thighs towards the wall and see if you can push the block towards the wall behind you. Then check out what happens with your sacrum. Slide your sacrum down slightly towards your tailbone. And notice how that brings your abdominal area in. Bring your shoulders to the wall. Maybe your head will come to the wall as well. And then lift through the spine. I'm going to stay in Tadasana. Those of you that haven't got there yet, I'm going to bring you through it again. So place the block between your thighs. Step your heels to the wall if you can. Again, if it feels like you're pushing your abdomen forward, take your heels slightly off the wall, an inch away. But look at your feet. You want to make your feet parallel so toes don't turn out. Heels turn out a little more, Linda. Then press down with the inner heels. Hug the block. Good. Lean into the wall. Lift your toes. When we lift the toes, we engage the quads. So engage those quads, lifting the knees. Keep hugging the block and push the block towards the wall. Yes, pushing the thighs towards the wall. Then notice what's happening with your pelvis. We want to point the sacrum down towards the tailbone, bringing your abdominal wall in. Nice. Then begin to grow the spine up. Lift out of the base of the spine, up through the neck. Collarbones broad, shoulders touching the wall. Maybe the back of your head can touch the wall. Tadasana, mountain pose. Good. Keep coming towards the wall with those thighs, Elise. And lift your breastbone, everyone. Yes, nice. Breathe. Now, without adjusting that sacrum, we want to keep the sacrum pointing down and your core muscles engaged. Inhale your arms forward and up to a Urdhva Hastasana arm. And see if you can bring your thumbs to touch the wall. With nice straight arms. Reach through those elbows, Jill. Yes, straighten the arms as much as you can. Good. Notice if your pelvis is pushed forward, Elise. So keep moving the thighs back towards the wall. Good. Sacrum down. Chest has to lift towards the hands. Good. Draw out of your waist. Good. And then bring the arms back down and rest. Okay. So now you can take your block out for a minute, but we are going to bring it back in again. We're going to take our chair for a little more back traction. And we're going to face first the tall part of the chair. And so watch here. I'm going to, again, take my block between my thighs. And I'm going to come right back to Tadasana. So for me, I have to really watch that lower back. It digs in too far. It's like a lordosis. So I am taking my thumbs to my sacrum and pushing it down. And then that brings my abdominal wall in, okay? Then just from Tadasana, I'm going to fold forward, place my hands on the top part of the chair, and step back until my shoulders can come down into this half Ardha Uttanasana, half forward bend. And then I'll give you instructions here. Again, we want to watch that we're not sinking in the lower back. So the abdominal wall has to be lifted. The sacrum now is extending straight back. Knees are up. Okay? And then we'll come in and out of a little bent knee, keeping the sacrum moving back. And then we come back to straight legs, and then you can lift up and just walk in to your chair with your block. And then take your block out. Okay? So stand facing the high part of your chair. Take your block, place it in. Come back to that same Tadasana position we just did. From the feet, lift the toes, engage your quads. Move your thighs back. Press your block back. Bring your sacrum down, lift your chest up. Feel your core engage. Then fold forward, place your hands on the high part of the chair. Start to walk your feet back until your shoulders come all the way down into a right angle, L-shaped pose. Good. Now try to just use the palms of your hands on the chair. So your fingers stay long, your wrists don't sink. We want to keep those inner wrists strong. Good. Now hug your block between your thighs and try to push it back behind you. This is really good for the hips too, setting the hips, lifting the pelvic floor. And now remember where your sacrum is and start to extend it straight behind you, like it's attached to your tail. And it's extending straight behind you. Let your shoulders come down, Jill. Let your mid-back come down towards the floor. Yeah, better. Good. Long reach through the sacrum. Toes lifting to engage the quads. Good. As you extend through your sacrum, you feel that abdominal wall lift. Good, Renee. You can see that strength in your core coming. Good. And just be there for another 30 seconds. Just keep extending back through your tailbone. This is a great back care pose. The block helps to set the hips and move the thighs so they rotate in, which broadens the lower back. All kinds of good things happening. Good. Think about the block being pushed out behind you. Sacrum extending straight back. So the sacrum is parallel to the floor. Good. Abdominal wall is lifting. Good. Now to try bending the knees a little bit. Stay in the pose, but just bend your knees slightly. You want to try to let that upper back come down, Jill. We don't want to round the spine here. Upper back, yeah, like that. Good. Now reach back through the sacrum with your knees slightly bent. Your tailbone and buttocks need to lift, Elise. There's a tucking going on. Yeah, lift. Good. See if you can get some more length through the sacrum and lumbar with the knees bent. Watch those wrists, Lisa. Good. And then come back to straighter knee. Keep moving through the sacrum. Good. And then you walk towards the chair and just stand up and take your block out. Good. All right. So now we're going to turn the chair around. You can put your block down for now. We're going to turn the chair around. We're just going to do maybe one more standing pose. So if you could watch first. I'm still paying attention to the sacrum and the abdominal wall, trying to get those sides even and strong. So we're going to come down now onto the seat of the chair. And my hands are just placed on the seat of the chair. I'm going to step back in what we call the modified dog pose. And I'm just going to keep, though, my feet so they're under my hips. But the shoulders should be lower than they were in the last pose, okay? Sacrum is lengthening in parallel to the floor, lifting my core. And then I'm going to start to take one leg straight back in a warrior three, lifting from the inner leg, not the outer leg, but lifting from the inner leg so the knee stays pointing down. And then work that sacrum again. Lift that abdominal wall. And then we come down. You can rest. You can rest with your knees soft. And then we'll take the other side, okay? Then you come out by walking in, and then we'll rest with our head down. Okay. Okay, so first place your hands on the seat of the chair with your arms straight. And just check in with your sacrum. Feel what's happening in your back. Yeah, you want to lift your buttocks more, Vicky, so your spine straightens. Good. Now, you can also grab the corners of the chair if that's a little easier on your wrists. And then step back until your shoulders come down. Shoulders come down to your ability. Once your shoulders come down, then place your feet so they're right under your hips, Vicky. So you, without lifting the shoulders, walk in.
So you have to let your shoulders come down, Jill, first. You have to come into the pose first. Shoulders and back is nice and straight. Then walk your feet under your hips. Some of your feet are still too far back. You're going to feel the difference when you go to lift a leg. It's not going to be that easy. Good. Now remember where the block was between your thighs. Your feet are pretty close together. Yeah. And you're gently moving the inner thighs back and feeling your sacrum. Extend back through your sacrum. Yes, lift your abdominal wall. Good. Now press down with your left foot and start to lift your right leg. Oh, but don't let the back lift up, Jill. Keep your back down. Yeah, so stretch back. Try not to roll the leg up, Renee. We want to keep the hips squared in this. Good. Now that the leg is up, what's happening with the sacrum? Direct it towards the right or the elevated leg heel. Straight knee, like we did in Supta Padangusthasana. Good. Nice, Linda. Abdominal wall is lifting. That leg that's lifted is rolled in, not out. Shoulders are down. Good. Now lower the leg. Come back to where we were. So Renee, if you can bring your shoulders down more or walk your feet towards the chair more, your feet are too far back, and now take your shoulders down. Yeah. Take a few breaths here and rest. Hips back, Carrie, over your hip, over your ankles. Yeah. So hips should be over the ankles, right? Yeah. Now see what's happening with your sacrum. Some of you have to, lift your tailbone a little more so your sacrum becomes more parallel to the floor. Spine has to move down, Jill. Now take a breath in and take your other leg straight back slowly. Warrior 3. Good. Try not to roll that hip up. The hip stays squared. Sacrum is moving towards the back heel now. Abdominal wall lifts. So your shoulders aren't down, Lisa. Are you aware of that? You haven't stepped back yet into the pose yet. And then you bring your leg up. Good. Reach with the heel, straight knee. Breathe in the pose. Yeah, good. Long reach. Sacrum parallel, abdominal wall up. And then slowly bring the leg down. Pause there. Adjust your sacrum again. Some of you have to lift your tailbone and buttocks more to get your sacrum parallel. And some of you need to go the other way. So part of this is learning about what your way is. Good. Now walk towards your chair. And then bring your forearms down to the chair and rest your head on your forearms. Take your feet as wide as you need to. And long fluid exhalation. Okay, and so now you can come back on your hands and then lift your chest and then bring your hands to your hips and stand up. So remember, it's just as important how you come out of the pose as you come into the pose. So try to be aware of the steps coming out. All right, I'm going to do one more thing here for our spine strengthening. And so we're going to need to put down a blanket. We're going to have a blanket And if you have a bolster, you can use a bolster or a cushion or a rolled blanket behind you for your ankles. So if you could watch, this is for Salambasana, the locust. So I'm placing my, as you can see, I'm placing my ankles right on the bolster. This blanket is for underneath my abdomen. And so for those that are not comfortable being on their stomach, if it bothers your lower back, then you want to increase the height under your abdomen, okay? So it brings your lower back a little more to a neutral place. So just watch. We're going to rest first with the head down. I'm going to lift one leg, stretch it out, lift the other. And so my ankles are on the bolster, but notice my knees are straight. My knees are not on the floor. The knees are straight. Then I'm going to bring my mind back to the sacrum. Sacrum is moving down towards the heels. And I'm grounding my pelvis that way. Then I'm going to work with the upper body, keeping the lower body stable. I'm going to come up with the head, shoulders, bring those shoulder blades in, and strengthen the upper back muscles. Then I'll come down, rest. Then I'll come up again, sacrum down. Then the arms will come up into a Salambasana. Okay? I'm going to actually do 3 of those. Then you come out by lifting yourself up and coming back into sort of a child's pose. Okay? So it's tummy time. Place your blanket, whatever height you need, under your abdomen for comfort. And then elevate your ankles and feet on a cushion of some kind. So just your ankles and your feet, not your whole shin bone. Yeah. Then rest your forehead. So your hands are in front of you. Rest your forehead down on your hands. Good. And then bring your attention to your legs. You're going to lift one leg and stretch it out from the quad down to the toes. Roll the thigh in and then bring the leg back down. Good. Do the same with the other leg. Lift it up just a little bit. Yep, stretch it down, roll the thigh in, and then bring it back to the bolster. Good. Then, if you can straighten your knees, so you press your feet into the bolster to straighten your knees. So your knees lift off the floor. Yes, good. Now we want to maintain that. Bring your sacrum down towards your heels. So lengthen the sacrum towards the heels, keeping your legs straight. Nice. Now bring your arms alongside your body. Rest on your forehead for a moment. Keep the sacrum actively moving down. Inhale your breath. Feet are now on the bolster, Jill. We're not lifting them continually, but you're keeping your knees up. Sacrum down. Inhale, lift your head. Just pause with the head up. Keep your sacrum moving down. Shoulders moving down. Good. And then bring your head back down. Rest. Adjust your knees so they're straight. Sacrum down. Inhale the breath. Again, slowly lift your head, your neck. Feel those shoulder blades move in. Yes, engage the upper back muscles. Good. Now lift your shoulders a little more if you can and see if you can bring your arms up. Arms coming off the floor. Straight behind you, Salambasana. Reach the hands towards the feet. Knees are up. Yes, sacrum moves towards the tailbone. And then come down, rest. Long exhale. And then we'll do one more. When you're ready, bring your head back to center. Start to engage your legs. So press down with your ankles, lift your knees, direct your sacrum towards your heels. Inhale your breath, start to lift your head, lift your shoulders, bring your shoulder blades in. Good, lift your arms. See if you can get your chest up a little more. Coming into locust, knees are straight. Yes, sacrum moves down. Chest up, Linda. Try to lift the breastbone a little. Good, shoulder blades move in, everybody. Strengthen those back muscles. 2 more breaths. Reach the arms towards the feet. Reach the feet away. Good, and then come down and rest. And then lift yourself, bring your hands under your shoulders, lift to child's pose. Sit back on those heels. Good, bring your hands down under your shoulders and sit up. And now let's come back to that very first pose at the beginning of class, sitting cross-legged on your blanket. And if you haven't over time changed the cross of your legs, please do that today. So take a different cross than you normally do. Make sure you're adjusting your base. So you're sitting up tall on your sit bones. When you feel your lower back, it's moving slightly in, and your sacrum is pointing down towards your tailbone. Good. Lift your spine up, lift your chest, and get that long spine and neck. Inhale, arms up to Urdhva Hastasana. Now keep those hips relaxed so the knees are not climbing up towards the armpits. Good. Sacrum points down. Abdominal wall moves back. Now you're going to turn to your right, twisting to the right. Left arm comes around. Right arm comes behind you. Lift the breastbone. Good. Point the sacrum down as you twist. Inhale, lift that spine. Sacrum points down and we twist. Good, now stay in your twist. Turn your face to look over your left shoulder towards the camera. Keep the hips long and soft. Good, and then release back to center. Readjust your back. Notice the lower back should dip in, sacrum down, abdominal wall moves back, hips soft, knees dropped. Inhale, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Keep those hips soft, sacrum down. Exhale, turn to your left. Begin your turn on the exhale. Lift the chest on the inhale. Exhale, turn. Keep adjusting through your sacrum so your abdominals come in. Now turn your face to look over your right shoulder. Keep twisting to your left. And then release. Good. And stretch your legs out. Come to Dandasana. Okay. So now we're going to bring that chair back in. We're going to put some height on the seat of the chair. Maybe a blanket or two. And then we're going to lie flat on the back now. Elevating your calves. If you could see how close I am to the chair, my legs are, my knees and hips are almost lined up.
And then I want to adjust the back body again. Lengthen the sacrum down. And then allow my weight to rest at the center of the sacrum. So there's a little lumbar arch there. And we're going to take Shavasana here. Check that the back of your neck is long. And your forehead is parallel to the floor, a little lower than your chin. Face is soft, shoulders broad, arms relaxed, legs relaxed. For Shavasana, we try to roll the arms up. So you turn from the top of the arm bone, so your palms face up towards the ceiling. That way you can adjust through the shoulder blades, bringing them down, and broaden at the front of your shoulders. Good, back of the neck long. Eyes are soft. Balancing right on the center of the sacrum. Allow the breath to soften. Allow the practice to integrate body, mind, integrating together. And this is where it can get challenging to stay present with your attention. This is a more still part of meditation. And the body and the mind have joined together more. It should feel easier to stay in the moment with your attention. Following that natural rhythm of your breathing. And resting into that. And coming back to your breath. And taking a fuller inhalation as you gently open your eyes. Placing your hands onto your trunk and drawing your knees closer to your chest, giving your legs a hug. Relax the small of your back into the floor. And roll to your side. Come to sitting position. Namaste.